My dears, today we are going to be talking about present simple passive, okay? So I am going to ask you to participate. This is not a difficult topic. This is actually really easy, but I want you to let me know if you have questions, if maybe is there something you don't know how to do, if maybe there is something you didn't understand, please let me know, okay? So we are going to begin. Present simple passive, babies. But in order to begin and in order to be able to talk about present simple passive, we need to be able to talk about passive voice. What is passive voice? What do you remember? What do we mean by passive? What do you remember of that? Passive voice. If I say that, what do you remember? What do you think? Do you have something in mind? Passive voice. Okay, you are quiet. I am going to give you some clues. Let's remember, babies, that in English we have two voices. We have an active voice and we have a passive voice, okay? We have these two types of voices. What happened with active and what happened with passive? What did you think? Active voice. If I say that something is active, what this may be or what comes to your mind? For example, Samuel, what do you think? Active voice. What do you think that it is that? Or
Mm,
what do
I
you
don't,
remember?
I don't know. I think voz activa. No,
Voz
algo
activa.
así.
Yeah. Okay, Paes, if I say active voice, what do you think it may be? Paes?
I think it's like mm, eh, I will be active. I will be asking you, and if you answer me, you will be passive. I think it's
Okay. Questions and
like that.
answers. Something like that.
Yes.
Okay. What do you think, for example, Juan Camilo, if I say active voice? What is that? What did you imagine?
Um, I don't have any idea, teacher.
No ideas. Okay, don't worry. So, babies, when we talk about active and passive voice in English, we are talking about this. Mariana Poveda, can you please help me reading this part, baby? Mariana,
Tell me,
can you please help me reading this part?
the active voice is used when the subject of the
Subject.
sentence does the action.
Thank you, princess. So, babies, the active voice, guys, is the voice in English when we are saying or we are expressing that the subject is the one who is making the action. When the subject does the action, okay, guys? When you talk about active voice, that means that the most important thing of your sentence is going to be the subject. It's going to be the person or the thing that is making the action. For example, my mother writes a letter. If I say that my mother writes a letter, the most important thing in this sentence is the fact that it's my mother, the one who is writing the letter. Can you see? That is active voice. And what happened with passive is this: if this is active voice, what may be passive voice? Juan Sebastian, what do you think? If active
What, teacher?
voice,
Could you repeat the question?
yeah. If active voice give the importance to the subject that is making the action, that is doing the action, then what will passive voice be? What is that?
No, teacher, I don't have idea.
Okay. What do you think? For example, Jacob, if active give the importance to the subject, what happened with passive?
Mm, ah, maybe when the subject is like not doing nothing, like I
Something
don't
like
know.
that. So, yeah, kinda. It is like this is opposite, guys. Estos son opuestos, por así decirlo. Active and passive. So if the active voice is used to give the subject the importance, passive voice is saying like, okay, the subject is not important. La voz pasiva te va a decir, ok, no, el sujeto aquí realmente no importa. What happened with passive voice? We are going to check, babies. The passive voice is used when we focus on the object of the sentence. So this is the first thing you need to know. In active voice, as I was telling you, the important thing is the subject that is doing the action. Lo importante en la voz activa es el sujeto que está realizando una acción. But in passive voice, you are going to be focused on the object. That means the thing or the person or the part of the sentence that is receiving the action. En la voz pasiva ya no va a ser importante el sujeto, ya no va a ser importante quién realiza la acción, sino el objeto, es decir, quién está recibiendo esa acción. Entonces, por ejemplo, si tú dices, my mom or my mother writes a letter, I am going to send that through the chat, just to let you know better. If you say this, my mother writes a letter. The subject is going to be your mother, the action is going to be writes, and the object is going to be the letter. But if you want to say exactly the same in passive voice, you are going to say a letter. Oh my God. There you have it through the chat. A letter is written by my mother. En ese caso, amores, ustedes podrían omitir completamente que fue la mamá, porque realmente el sujeto que hace la acción no importa. En la voz pasiva lo que importa es el objeto de la oración, la cosa que está recibiendo la acción. Entonces, si tú dices, my mother writes a letter, lo cambias. A letter is written by my mother. La carta es escrita por mi mamá. Lo importante es quién recibió esa acción que el sujeto está haciendo. ¿Ok? Questions up to this point, babies? I am going to give you some seconds to take notes of this part. Okay, ready, my dears, or no yet? Ready, babies, or no yet? Please let me know. Yes, no. Tell me something, please. Guys, okay, I am going to continue because you are super quiet. I don't know if you're ready or not. So, passive voice, babies. Passive voice is when the object is more important than the person who do it, who does it, okay? Is when the action is also more important than the subject. Es cuando la voz pasiva es cuando el objeto es más importante, cuando la acción que se está realizando es más importante que el sujeto que la está haciendo. So, we are going to continue. Let me show you this part. So, how do we form it? I am going to explain how to make passive voice. And we are going to read this slide, okay? Juana Princess, can you please help me reading this part, this slide?
Yes, teacher. How do we form it? We form the present simple passive voice with the present simple of the verb to be and past participle of the main verb. For regular verbs, the ed form, and for irregular verbs, the 3rd.
The
Column
third.
e.g. the plants are watered every day.
Thank you. So, my dears, we are going to begin talking about how can we make passive voice? How can we form passive voice? And this is like the structure. The most important thing you have to take into account here is this one, verb to be. Okay? In this case, babies, verb to be is going to be extremely important because when we talk about passive voice, guys, when we talk about passive voice, you have like a lot of ways to say something in passive voice. Tienes muchas formas. En pasado, en presente, en perfecto, en futuro. Voz pasiva de muchísimas formas. Today we are going to be focused, of course, just in present simple. Vamos a hacer voz pasiva en presente simple. But just for you to know, one of the most important things you are going to be using in passive voice in general is verb to be. In this case, guys, talking about passive voice in present simple, you are going to be using verb to be in present simple. That means am, is, or are by taking into account the subject. Tell me, Jacob.
Teacher, can you go to the last slide one moment? I want to see if I checked something well or I didn't.
Okay, just 1 second because we are in the middle of the next part of the explanation.
Okay, I already checked.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. So, babies, as I was telling you, one of the most important things in passive voice is verb to be. And in this case of passive voice in present simple, you are going to be using verb to be in present simple. That means, as I was telling you, am, is, or are by taking into account the subject. Okay? But also, the next part of passive voice is going to be also important because you are going to be using this all the time, and that is the past participle form of the main verb. So, when we were talking about participle forms and verbs like the previous week, I told you that one of the most important things is that to memorize the verbs, to practice the verbs. So, babies, my suggestion in this case for you is that you really need to take some time on your own to practice and to memorize the verbs. If you don't do it, babies, it's going to be really, really, really hard to be able to use this in a good way. Because you can have all the theory, you can have like the structure, and you can understand everything like perfectly. But if you don't know what's the past participle of the verb you need, you are not going to be able to do it in a good way, okay? Es bien importante, amores, que tomen el tiempo de verdad para aprender los verbos. Sentarse, memorizarlos, trabajarlos, practicarlos. ¿Listo? So, remember this, babies. We have regular and irregular verbs in English. With regular verbs, we just have to add ed. For irregular verbs, is the third column in the list. La tercera columna de la lista que tienen en el libro. That one. And here we have an example. Look at this. The plants are watered every day. What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of watered? What do you think?
Add water, profe.
Add water, that's it. When you put water in something, in this case, the plants. So the plants are watered every day. Look at this, my dears. I have a question for you. What is the object in this sentence? ¿Cuál es el objeto de nuestra oración en este caso? El objeto, el que recibe la acción.
Plants.
The plants, that's our object. ¿Cómo sabes que es el objeto? Aun cuando tienes las plantas no se están poniendo agua a ellas mismas. Las plantas están recibiendo el agua que alguien más está poniendo en ellas. ¿Listo? Keep it in mind. So there you have the object, then you have the verb to be in present. En este caso es are porque son plantas, plural. Then you have the participle, the past participle form of the verb, and then you have the complement. ¿Listo? Do we know who is doing this? Do we know who is watering the plants? ¿Sabemos quién está regando las plantas? Yes or no? No, teacher, we don't know. So, note, guys, we don't know. We don't know who is putting water in the plants. We just know this is happening. And once again, this confirms the subject is not important here. Esto confirma una vez más que el sujeto no es importante acá. Okay? So look at this slide for a second. Let's take a look just to this first part. Affirmative form is going to be an object, the object you have. Then you have verb to be in present. That means am, is, or are. And then you have the past participle. Verb 3 means the third column, okay? So then you have the past participle form of the verb. And you have an example. In active voice, you are going to say, I write a letter. Sujeto, el verbo, o sea, la acción que está haciendo, y el complemento, o sea, el objeto de tu oración. But in passive voice, the first thing is going to be the object. So you are going to write the letter, the object that is receiving the action. Verb to be in present, in this case, is, because you just have a letter. It is singular. And then you have the past participle of the main verb that is written, okay?
I have a question.
Tell me.
Why does it have I don't know. No se supone. A mí me suena como de I am, pero pues como el objeto pues es lo más importante, no sé, me confundo.
No entendí bien tu pregunta. ¿Estás confundido?
Con el que aparece en las estructuras. ¿Sabes qué aparece? Object plus am o am barra is.
Ok, no te me confundas. Este es object y este am, is, or es para decirte que sigue el verbo to be. ¿Sí ves?
Ok, ya no había visto que los tres eran verbos to be. Ya entendí.
Es porque sigue el verbo to be en presente, o sea, am, is, or.
Ok, y la forma negativa es igual que la afirmativa, pero el verbo to be es negativo, ¿no? I am not.
Pero ya lo vamos a explicar. Es así, pero ya lo vamos a explicar.
Ok.
Okay? So, guys, I am going to go back to the previous slide because I want you to take notes of this, and then I am going to give you some seconds to take notes of this structure. However, don't forget, object, verb to be in present simple, main verb in past participle, and the complement, okay? So now you have some seconds to take notes of this part. Ready, my dears? Please let me know. Hey guys, ready? No yet? Tell me something, thank you.
I'm not ready. I have to write something.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead, some extra minutes. Okay, ready guys? Let's continue. Okay? Here we go. So don't forget, babies. Important thing, I am going to show you this slide once again. Important. Object, verb to be in present, is or are, plus the verb in participle, okay? We are going to continue. This is affirmative. This is the affirmative form to make this. What happened then with this? Look at this. Before explaining, guys, the negative form, I want to show you this because it is not necessary, but you can use it. The agent. We are going to read a bit about the agent, el agente de la voz pasiva. So, Jesus, can you please help me reading this part, darling? Jesus, are you there, darling? Can you hear me? Maybe not. Jesus is not there. So I am going to ask Paez, can you please help me reading this part?
The full page.
Yes, please. The agent.
The agent. When we are using the passive structure and we want to mention who did the action, we put in the end of the sentence introducing by. Example, the baby is fed by his mother.
Thank you. So as I was telling you guys, in affirmative, you just have to use the object, verb to be in present, and the participle form of the main verb. But as the subject is not important in the case of passive voice, we are not going to say that is the subject, but we are going to say that is the agent. And if you just want to include it, once again, it is not necessary, but if you want to include it, you just have to put it at the end of the entire sentence with by. So the baby is fed by his mother. No es necesario que pongas quién lo hizo. Tú puedes solo decir the baby is fed. Pero si realmente quieres decir quién lo hizo, pues dices by his mother, by his father, by his auntie, by his family. I don't know. Okay, can you see? But you are just going to put the agent, that means the subject who makes the action, at the end of the entire sentence. Look at this. Miren acá. Si ustedes miran acá, the baby is fed, ustedes me pueden decir, profe, pero el bebé es una persona, vendría siendo un sujeto. No se confundan. Recuerden, amores, que cuando hablamos de poner el objeto al principio, no es que sea una cosa. El objeto no es una cosa. El objeto es el que está recibiendo la acción que está siendo realizada. En este caso, el que está siendo alimentado es el bebé. El bebé es el que está recibiendo esta acción que es tan importante acá. La acción que está siendo realizada es tremendamente importante y el que está recibiendo la acción es el bebé. ¿Listo? Entonces, al tener al bebé recibiendo la acción, el bebé se transforma en el objeto de nuestra oración. No importa si es una persona, lo importante para descubrir quién es el objeto o cuál es el objeto es ver quién está recibiendo la acción que está siendo desarrollada. So, the baby is fed by his mother. Questions about it? Some seconds to take notes. Okay, babies, we are going to continue. Ready? Yeah? No? I hope so. So let's continue. And now that you know, babies, that you have to use object, verb to be in a present, and the participle of the verb, we can talk about, guys, the negative form and the form of the questions, okay? So let's talk about negative. Let's go with Jesus. Did you arrive or no yet? Maybe not. So, Juan Sebastian, baby, can you please help me reading this slide?
Okay, teacher. Negative. To negate a passive structure, we put not between the verb to be auxiliary and the past participle, main verb. Example, I am not given pocket money every week.
Thank you, darling. So look at this, guys. When you want to make the negative, the only thing you have to do is to put not, or to put in negative the verb to be you are using. So you are going to put it between verb to be and the verb in participle. So look at the example. I am not given pocket money every week. What is the meaning of pocket money? What do you imagine by pocket money? What is that? What is pocket money? Like, okay, literally es dinero de bolsillo, pero por ejemplo lo pueden entender como mesada, una mesada. Hay papás que le dan a sus hijos una mesada, así se llama, todas las semanas para que tengan dinero y manejan los chicos el dinero que les dan semanalmente. Okay? In this case, I am not given pocket money every week. Once again, you have your object, I. Tienes como objeto una persona. ¿Pero por qué? Porque el que no está recibiendo, o sea, el que le está recayendo la acción es a esa persona. Al que no le están dando el dinero es a esa persona. Más no es él quien está realizando la acción. Can you see? You can say, I am not given pocket money every week by my parents. ¿Sí ven? Y ya al final de la oración, si quieren decir quién no le da dinero todas las semanas, pues puedes poner un agente que son los papás. For example, if we want to say something else in negative, the example that I sent through the chat. If you want to say, I have, a letter is written by my mother. Si quieres decir eso en negativo, ¿cómo sería? Que la carta no es escrita por tu mamá. ¿Cómo lo dices? Instead of saying a letter is written by my mother, how can you put that in negative? Who can tell me?
A letter isn't written by my mother.
That's it. A letter isn't or a letter is not written by my mother. Can you see? So that's it. The only thing, babies, you have to do is to put that the verb to be in negative. So I am going to show you some examples in affirmative, and you are going to help me putting those in negative, okay? So look at this. My mother cleaned the room. First question, is this active or passive voice?
Active.
Active voice, very good. Why? Because the most important thing here is the subject who is doing the action. Now look at this in passive. The room is clean by my mother if you want. En este caso no se pone porque realmente no es necesario. So the room is clean. I am going to ask Juan Camilo, can you please help me putting this sentence in negative, this passive voice sentence in negative?
Repeat, please.
Can you please help me putting this sentence in passive voice in negative? Here you have it in affirmative. Can you please put it in negative?
The room isn't cleaned.
The room isn't clean. Very good. What about this one? He opened the door. Is this active or passive?
Passive cause, no, I don't know.
It is active.
When is active is when the subject is like entonado o como se.
Cuando es voz activa es cuando lo más importante de tu oración es el sujeto que realiza la acción. Cuando te dicen él está haciendo esto, ella está haciendo esto, eso es voz activa, porque te están dando un sujeto que está haciendo algo. Cuando es voz pasiva, están diciéndote algo está recibiendo una acción que fue realizada por alguien. Entonces el objeto es el más importante. ¿Sí ves? Aquí no te están diciendo que la habitación se está limpiando, te están diciendo que la habitación es limpiada. ¿Sí ves? La habitación no está realizando la acción. So in this case, he opened the door is active voice. So in passive, the door is opened. The door is opened. So Juana, can you please put this sentence in negative? Is she here?
I'm sorry, teacher. I was talking with the
Okay.
microphone off.
Go ahead, Princess.
Can you repeat me?
Yeah. I have this passive voice sentence in affirmative. The door is opened. Can you please put it in negative?
Oh, the door isn't opened.
That's it. The door isn't open. Tú puedes poner the door isn't open or the door is not open. The important thing, guys, when we talk about negative is that we are going to negate, we are going to put the negative part in the verb to be. Vamos a negar el verbo to be. ¿Listo? Siempre va a ser el verbo to be lo que se va a negar para decir que, bueno, que la oración es negativa. It is not like that. Questions up to this point, babies? No questions? So some seconds to take notes and then we are going to continue. Okay, we are going to continue, my dears. And finally, babies, when we want to talk about questions, I just want you to remember that you have to switch, to change the order. Siempre que ustedes piensen en preguntas, chicos, piensen, tengo que cambiar el orden, ¿ok? Why? Because basically, when you are making questions, you are going to put the auxiliary verb, in this case, verb to be, at the beginning. So we are going to read this part and we are going to discover how to make questions, okay? So, Kiara, can you please help me reading this slide, princess?
Okay, questions. When we want to ask a question in passive, we put the auxiliary to be before the subject. ¿Sigo? Okay. Are you helped with your homework by an adult?
Thank you, princess. So look at this, babies. When you want to make questions, the only thing you have to do is to put the auxiliary verb, like verb to be in this case, before the subject. Vas a hacerle switch. Usualmente tú puedes decir, you are helped with your homework. Tú eres ayudado con tu tarea. Pero cuando vas a hacer la pregunta, lo que haces es cambiar las primeras partes de la oración. Entonces, en lugar de you are helped, vas a poner are you helped with your homework? By an adult, in this case, the agent. Can you see? The only thing you have to do is to change the order. Okay, my dears? Change the order. Look at this. I am going to show you this slide for a second. When you have a question, the first thing is going to be your verb to be in affirmative, in present simple, of course, like am, is, or are. Then you are going to have your object, and then you are going to have your verb in participle plus the question mark, of course. So, if I want to make a question from this, how can I do it? For example, I am going to ask Samuel, how can you change this sentence into a question? ¿Cómo puedes poner esto como una pregunta?
Is the letter written?
That's it. Is the letter written? And that's it. Can you see? So basically, babies, you just have to switch. Tienes es que cambiar el orden y ya. Primero el verbo to be, luego el objeto y luego sí, tu verbo. So go ahead, babies, take notes. And then we are going to take some minutes to practice. Okay, ready, babies, or no yet? Please let me know. Babies, tell me, ready? Do you need more time? Say something, please. Yes, no, so.
I need some extra seconds, please.
Thank you, Jacob. Okay, babies, we are going to continue because we are about to finish with the class. So, tell me, babies, questions up to this point? There is something you don't understand? There is something you are confused with? Something you say like, teacher, what is this? I don't understand. Please explain a bit more. No? So, oh my God, give me a second. I am going to show you some exercises. We are going to take some time to do some exercises together today. But next class, we are going to be practicing more, okay? So let's go with this. I am going to show you these 6 exercises, and I am going to ask some of you to help me doing it. It says, complete with the present simple passive of the verbs in brackets, okay? So let's go with the first one. The first one is going to be done by Emily. Can you see my screen in a good way, baby?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so you are going to help me with the first one. Ready? It says, this TV program, you have this space, the verb is watched by millions of people. So how can you complete this in present simple passive?
Espérate, pienso.
So remember, you have two important things, verb to be and the verb in participle. This TV program is paced by millions of people.
This TV program are
Okay, first of all, TV program, singular or plural?
mentiras, profe. Is watched.
Is watched. Very good. So this TV program is watched by millions of people. Be careful, babies, with the object. Tengan cuidado con el objeto que tienen, amores, porque dependiendo si es singular, plural, hombre, mujer, cosa, varios, poquitos, ustedes van a utilizar el verbo to be en presente. ¿Listo? So this TV program is watched by millions of people. Let's continue with Jose. Jose, baby, can you please help me with the second one? It says, my cat, space, you have not called Bruce. His name is Butch. So, Jose, how can you complete it?
My cat isn't cold, creo.
Yes. My cat isn't called Bruce. His name is Butch. Very good, Jose. Remember, guys, that you can also say it is not or are not, okay? My cat isn't called, ed, participle, Bruce. His name is Butch. Thank you very much. Let's continue with Juan Camilo. Juan Camilo, the next one. At my office, the rubbish, space, out every night. So how can you complete it, Cami?
At my office, the rubbish take it out every night.
Once again, there is something missing, something important. Once again.
Sorry. At my office, the rubbish is taken out every night.
Take it or taken?
Taken like with N or with ing.
That's it. Taken.
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 And what is the traduction?
Tomada, recogida, tomada. It's like take. This is take, took, taken, okay? The participle is taken. Be careful with the participles, babies. You have to learn it. So, but very good. At my office, the rubbish is taken out every night. Let's continue with Juan Sebastian. Juan Sebastian, the next one, please. Do you have a space, computers, a space in your school? This is a question. So how can you do it, Sebas?
Is computers used in your school?
So once again, computers. Look at your object, sorry. Singular, plural. So Sebas, plural. If you have a lot of that, do you use is or do you use are?
Oh, sorry, are.
Are. So once again, baby, please.
Are computers used in your school?
Are computers used in your school? Very good. Let's continue with Mariana Poveda. Mariana, go ahead. How can you complete this one? These cars, space, all over the world. How can you do it, princess?
This car is sold.
So, once again, cars, singular or plural? ¿Lo tienes singular o plural?
Plural.
Entonces, ¿qué utilizas?
Are.
Are. These cars are. ¿Y cuál es el participio de sell, chicos? Who knows? What is the participle? So, Mari, look really, really fast. Participle of sell.
Sold.
Sold. So look at this. Oh my God. These cars are sold all over the world. Very good, Mariana. And let's finish with this one that is going to be done by Paes Attack. Many different sports space at this stadium.
Are played at this stadium.
Are played. Many different sports are played at this stadium. questions about the use of present simple passive up to this point, babies? No? So, babies, next class, we are going to practice this. We are going to have a Kahoot game and so on, okay? In order to practice, and we are going to have during the week a guide to practice passive voice. The idea is that I want you to practice a lot. For today, that's all, my dears. But if you have questions, don't hesitate. Please let me know next class, okay? That will be all for today, babies. Have a nice day, and I see you next class. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
teacher. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, teacher.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, teacher.